Well, this year's American League MVP took on the Yanks and Aaron Judge on Tuesday night, but there was mixed results. Does Reid Detmers have a shot at Rookie of the Year? And who's on the field and who's not on the field, according to, well, us? You're Locked On with Mike and Jon, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Would you give us a rate and a review? You can do so on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It helps friends to find the show, and we all need to be together in the dog days of summer. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time a new episode drops. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts.
We are so excited that you decided to join us for this edition of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every single day. You've got the Frisch Brothers, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros, here with you. My name is Jon, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother Jon.
Mike and I are lifelong fans of the Angels, and about a year and a half ago, we started our own podcast called the Super Halo Bros, and then we were fortunate enough to jump on with Locked On Angels this season. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Locked On Angels, and you can follow both of us, Mike and I, at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. So you know, as lifelong fans, through thick and thin, we love this team, and we have been through many seasons like this one, and we're still here, still standing tall, and we love our Halos till the end of the day. Mike, before we get into last night's game, I just want to address Monday night's game and how great it was to see Jose Suarez go 6 innings strong, to have Matt Thaiss behind the mound catching him, and then Shohei Ohtani giving us the go-ahead home run. I think we just need to celebrate that a little bit before we get into Tuesday night's game. What did you think about Monday night?
That was so much fun to watch. It was so much fun to listen to. And I actually was in Anaheim because we went to Disneyland as a family. And so I was listening to the game on the way home. And it was, I haven't listened to the radio broadcast in a while because I'm watching the TV. And I'll tell you, man, Terry Smith and Mark Langston, they're just good dudes. Like they just call the game so well. And Terry gives you all of the details, and he's got that Vin Scully vibe. He's not Vin Scully. I don't want to like blasphemy here, but he's got that Vin Scully vibe. And so
he's old school.
Yeah, he was great. And it was great to listen to the show on the radio, and really excited that we got that first victory. And we're the team that always is just a pain in the butt for the Yankees. And so getting that first victory was great. Last night's game was not so great. It was a 7-4 loss. And you know that it was going to be a struggle immediately because Mike Myers was on the mound, and Myers has been up and down. He's trying to figure out if he's a starter or if he's a long reliever or if he's an end of the bullpen guy. And so right now we're trying him out as a starter. I saw Jeff Fletcher tweet at somebody because when Touki Toussaint came in, he went 5 scoreless innings in relief and looked great. And somebody went, well, how come Toussaint isn't pitching and didn't start? And Mike Myers was, because Myers was terrible. And Fletch tweeted back and said, well, because Toussaint's given up like 9 earned runs in his last 2 starts, his last 2 outings, and Myers hadn't given up any runs. And so this was the most logical, reasonable start for Myers. But unfortunately, the Yanks figured him out. A couple of errors behind him. And, you know, I love the fire that Myers showed when he gave up the home run to Anthony Rizzo. You could tell he was just really frustrated with himself. And outside of that one inning where the errors happened, they really would have been in this game. And then, of course, Aaron Judge got the best of us. But I wasn't too disappointed in Myers' start. But it's hard when you're going up against a really great team like the New York Yankees.
When you're a guy who gives up home runs quite frequently and you're going up against the guy who had 50 home runs and then got his 51st off of you, that just seems like a recipe for disaster. And I understand where that person was coming from on Twitter who tweeted at Jeff Fletcher, because really you could go with any combination of Touki and Myers. Like Touki could have opened and Myers could have finished, and the other way around. They've done that before with Touki on as a starter. But yeah, Myers struggled. It was 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 7 runs. Of course, 2 of those runs came from Rengifo to Mike Ford. Ford wasn't able to scoop it. Now look, I love ourselves a big beefy boy over at first
Yes.
base like Mike Ford, and that
Yeah.
guy has been a stud since he's came over here. I love the way that he the
Yes.
Yankee dugout
Yeah.
the other night when he hit a home run, and then he hit another home run last night. But you know what? We have seen the perfect example of why we miss Jared Walsh, and that's
Yeah.
because Ford couldn't pick that throw from Rengifo out of the dirt, and Walsh makes that play 9 times out of 10, and
Oh,
it
for
doesn't get
sure.
past him, and it doesn't cause 2 runs to come in and score. And really, if those 2 runs don't come in and score, it's like you mentioned, it's a lot closer of a game, and it's 4-5 instead of 4-7 at the end of this game, and so
Sure.
possibly there's a little bit more pressure. But as far as the offense went, Max Stassi finally gets a hit, and it's a 2-run shot that tied up the game early on. Of course, Mike Ford hit his second home run. It was a lefty-lefty matchup too, Mike, and he did that on Monday as well. So there's something there with Mike Ford. Look, I don't want him to be the full-time first baseman, and we'll get into that later. But as far as replacements go, I enjoy him. Like I said, a big beefy boy over at first base. It's old school. I like it. He's not a defensive wizard, but he can hit the dang ball, and I love that. And then, of course, Aaron Judge got that 3-run home run, his 51st of the year. Look, if Myers went back into the dugout, I'm sure Shohei said, dude, you're not helping my MVP case by giving up home runs.
Help a brother out.
Aaron Judge. Come on.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about the Angels is that anytime they play these megastars, it seems like the megastars shine brightest against our team. I was thinking about years ago when we went to Baltimore and Cal Ripken was going to break the consecutive games played streak.
Yeah.
He had an unbelievable series against the Angels. He had a home run every single night. And then when we would play Mark McGwire, we never played him when he was doing the home run chase. But every time Mark McGwire came to Anaheim or we went to Oakland or wherever he was, Mark would just tear us up. And then I think about playing the Yanks. Jeter would hit us really well, and A-Rod would hit us really well.
Yeah.
And now Aaron Judge, of course, is hitting us really, really well. And right now, he seems to be somebody that just is on the ball. He knows what's coming, it seems, and is just on the ball, and he's crushing it. What were you going to say? You lit up there.
I was going to say, so you're saying if we happened to play the Cardinals, we're not playing the Cardinals, but you're saying that Albert would get his 700th home run off of us if we were to play them. Yeah,
that would be our luck.
That would be our luck, 100%.
John, you know what I really appreciated about last night was when Max Stassi hit his home run, it was to right center. And when he's going opposite field that way, like he's in the alley, that is when Max Stassi is at his best. And I loved his approach. His approach was really great. And so the more that he can do that, in fact, the more that the team can do that, I think the more successful they're going to be. And maybe the hitting coach needs to be Shohei, because that guy seems to just figure it out every time he's up there. His last at bat last night was a double down the third base line, and he was hustling, man. And that was the other thing that we didn't get a chance to talk about was on Monday night, he had a little bloop to second base or first base. And so Rizzo goes to turn and kind of underhand it to the pitcher, and Shohei outran the pitcher, right?
Yep.
And so
hustle, baby.
You just got to love this guy's hustle. And I really was grateful to see that Max Stassi went into the gap in right center. When he's going that way, that's when he's actually going to be a powerful, effective hitter.
Somebody on YouTube in our comments pointed out that Mike Trout should be the hitting coach because he's the one who's whispering in everybody's ear. And early on, it was Jeremy Reid telling Ohtani what to do, and Ohtani struggled to open the season. And then Trout seemed to encourage him, hey, hit it the other way. And I'm sure the same could be said for Max Stassi as well. Like, hey, dude, hit it the other way. Like, you can do it. So bottom line is Jeremy Reid is not going to be here next season at all.
No.
That's not going to happen.
I'd be shocked if he is.
Yeah. So, hey, we have a rubber match between the Yankees and the Angels tonight. Another 6:30 start for these guys. It's going to be Patrick Sandoval, my boy Sandy, against Garrett Cole, one of the best pitchers in the league. It's going to be a tough matchup, but I would like to see Sandy at least go pitch for pitch with Garrett Cole. It's a good chance for him to show what he is on the mound. I think it's gonna bring a lot of attention to the Angels and show everyone that Patrick Sandoval is here to stay. And what he needs to do, and I've said this many, many times, he's got to throw strikes and stay in the zone and really trust his stuff to get guys out. He can fool batters. He can induce ground outs. If he would just throw at the zone, I think that Sandoval could have a very successful night. But with that offense, I'm worried about them going up against Garrett Cole. So we'll see what gives here on a Wednesday night in this rubber match, the winning game that's going to decide this series.
Well, coming up on Locked On Angels, John and I are going to talk about who should be on the field and who should not be on the field. Who's in and who's out to finish the rest of the Angels 2022 season. But first, Locked On Angels is brought to you by our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. You can find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. You can find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, which is coming back, baby, and the NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to scores to podcasts. They have you completely covered. So head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. Remember, BetOnline is where the game starts.
Mike and I are big 49er fans. So do we have the most expensive backup in the league this season in Jimmy Garoppolo? Is that what's going on here?
No. In fact, they re-signed him to a $6 million deal to back up. So that actually is good news for the 49ers. So that's your update from Locked On 49ers. Let's get back to the Angels.
Hey, we want to thank you for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. And in our second segment, we want to talk about your boy, Mike, your favorite player on this team right now, Reid Detmers. Does he have a shot at being the Rookie of the Year? What's funny is you might say Rookie of the Year. He's been around forever. But the truth is he actually came up last August and has been in the league off and on since then. He came up in August. He got hurt, so he did not finish out 2021. Then he was here to start the season, and then he was sent down to AAA for just a bit, and that's where he learned to fix that slider, and now he's back, and he has been a whole different animal. Now, what we have to consider is that Julio Rodriguez is definitely the front runner for Rookie of the Year and probably will win it. However, we just think that Reid Detmers has had a very impressive year, and you could make the case for being Rookie of the Year. He probably won't get it. However, let's go over some of his stats. Why don't you hit those with us, Mike?
Well, he's had 20 starts this season, and he's 5-4. Now, every Angels starter has been plagued by, they should have won that game.
A lack of run support,
right? Like that has been the case for everybody, including Reid Detmers. He's got a 3.47 ERA, over 100 innings pitched, 99 Ks, and his WHIP is 1.16. And so I like those stats. I think that they are good Rookie of the Year stats. Obviously, Julio Rodriguez is crushing it this year. And so if he was to potentially maybe take the lead in the Rookie of the Year voting, Johnny, what would he need to do in order to maybe pass Julio Rodriguez and get that award this season?
It's too little too late now because there's not enough games left. But if Reid Detmers had somehow had 10 wins, now I think smart baseball writers know that wins and losses are not everything because exactly what you said, a lack of run support, a lack of bullpen relief. But if Reid Detmers had gotten to 10 wins this season and been something like 10-4 rather than 5-4, I could easily have seen him get Rookie of the Year or at least make it competitive with Julio Rodriguez. What else do you think he would have needed to do?
I think he's got to get over 150 innings plus pitched. That would have been a great key. I know that right now with the way the analytics work, getting 200 innings pitched is going to be few and far between. Guys like Garrett Cole will probably get there, and Justin Verlander, I know he's hurt, but he's the type of guy that would get there. But for most people, it's not going to be like the destination. I wonder if over the next few seasons, 150 plus innings is going to be what you're asking your your starters to go and do. And with the Angels, they have a 6-man rotation. And so you're going to find yourself not getting the innings that maybe other starters are going to get. And if he gets 150 innings, I think that's a successful season. And I would also love to see him get 150 strikeouts because he's a guy who, if he's striking out batters, it's not because he's throwing really hard stuff. It's because he's fooling these batters. And that means that he's pitching, John. And that's the thing that I really like about Reid, is that since he's come back up from the minors, he really is pitching. And then I think one more stat that's really important is the ERA and in the low 3s. Again, I know that some of these stats are sort of old school stats, but they still count. I know that there's ERA plus and all of those things, but I would love to see Reid finish the year with an ERA in the low 3s. And if he pitches really well in his next few starts, it'd be fantastic to see him go below 3, because I think that the way that he finishes this season will really be a catalyst for how he'll pitch in 2023.
You know, it's funny. He got not the perfect game. He got the no-hitter.
Yeah.
It's almost the tale of two seasons with Reid Detmers. You got Reid before the AAA stint and Reid after. And Reid before was still kind of struggling with his lack of a strikeout pitch and lack of getting guys out. He would get guys to pitchers' counts and just not be able to finish the job. He was able to induce a lot of ground outs because I think he only had 2 strikeouts in his no-hitter, something like that. And it's just crazy to me that a guy with a no-hitter in his technically rookie season and an immaculate inning is not going to be in consideration for Rookie of the Year. It's kind of a shame. But really, if we had had the Reid Detmers that he is now all season long, I think it would have been a much different story, because something about going down to AAA, finding that slider, getting that out pitch, which I think I've said it all season long. He lacked an out pitch. He just couldn't close the door on getting guys out with a strikeout. That's totally changed since he's come back up. And I really just think that if he had been that guy all year long, he would definitely have a case for Rookie of the Year. And you're right about the 6-man rotation. And you actually gave me an interesting idea. You know how sometimes you can count a day off as that 6th man, or if it's a 5-man rotation, the 5th man, that 5th day. I understand that the 6-man rotation is built around Shohei Ohtani, but I wonder if the Angels were able to work it out to have a 5-man rotation and build off of their days off. I wonder if you can get somebody like Jaime Barria to be the 6th man who doesn't always start every 6th day. Rather, you go through the rotation 5 days, then you have a day off, and then you start the 5-man rotation off again. But perhaps you do need a 6-man at the end of that stretch, and that could be the Barria role or whoever you want to slot in there. And the reason I say that is because as long as we do have a 6-man rotation, it is going to hinder guys like Shohei and guys like Reid Detmers who are going for these records and these awards.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, might be a lot closer of an MVP race if Shohei had more starts and more innings and more wins and things like that. Not that it's not close now, but I think that Shohei would have an even better case than he already does if he had more starts as a pitcher. So I don't know. It just kind of came to me. Maybe that's something we can talk about down the road, what that might look like now that we have the 2023 schedule, and see if that's even feasible. But as far as Reid Detmers goes, I think that he really made a case for himself as just being a great player on the Angels team and a future ace, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that you're correct. And I even go as far as to say, I wonder if they could have like a Barria, a Toussaint, and a Myers. I wouldn't want to take up roster spots, but I wonder if they could have a combination of those guys, and they are guaranteed to pitch on that 6th day when they needed a starter, instead of trying to find 6 starters, right? Maybe even a Michael Lorenzen is a part of that rotation of guys, right? And I think it would be a benefit to Shohei, and it would actually help his MVP case. And, maybe Aaron Judge will keep adding to his numbers because he's really close. He's really close with Shohei to be the MVP, but I think that Shohei is much better.
Yes, agreed. But as far as Reid Detmers go, I think that it's safe to say, Mike, that he's our Locked On Angels Rookie of the Year when it comes to Reid Detmers and the performance that he's had so far this season. And there's 32 more games and he's got a few more starts this season, so maybe he could improve those numbers, possibly come second place in the voting, whatever that might look like. That'd be really great to see.
Johnny, with just 32 more games left in this season, we've had a kind of a plethora, a cornucopia of different players that have come out to play on the field.
Are you using your word of the
us.
day dictionary again? Was that today's word of the day?
Today was estranged.
Estranged.
Sorry. Boy Meets World. Gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a game that I wanted to play with you. Let's play the game who's in and who's out. So I'm gonna share some positions on the field, and then I'm gonna give you the player's name, and then you just let me know if you'd like to see them finish out the year, or if you want to see somebody else finish out the year in that position. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the big boy, Mike Ford at first base. Doesn't he remind you a bit of Justin Bohr? Remember when Justin played for us for a bit? And
yeah, but he's already better than Justin Bohr.
that is true. Justin Bohr had that ominous presence, right? And there was kind of like maybe he could be a great bat off the bench and be at first base.
Matty V was giving him like Napoli comparisons on the broadcast.
That's right,
last
he was.
Night. I like that.
That, you know what? And that is a great comparison because Ford really does have that kind of Napoli vibe to him. Yeah. And he's just got that, he's beefy, right? And so I'm loving that he's actually hitting really well. But Johnny, would you rather see Ford finish out the season at first base, or do you want to see somebody else there?
I like Mike Ford at first base. I mean, he could serve to have a defensive replacement come in for him like they did with Matt Duffy. I know Matt Duffy pinch hit and then took over first, but if it's late in the game and you need to hold the lead, I could see Matt Duffy over at first base. As long as Jared Walsh is not able to play the rest of the season, why not give Ford a chance? Perhaps he could be somebody that you pinch hit with later on down the road, maybe in 2023. He comes off the bench when you need a good lefty bat to hit a home run for you. I mean, I love that kind of bat coming off the bench, and I think Mike Ford could be that. So to me, Mike Ford, he's in.
He's Ford in. Tough, how about let's go to shortstop. How about Anthony Velasquez? And so he's had kind of this really interesting season. When the offense was good, we could kind of hide him at short. But now that the offense has really struggled, you can't hide him anymore,
you say
right?
Anthony Velasquez. Do you miss Rendon? Is that what you mean, Andrew?
Andrew, yes. I'm the one that creates the script, and my freaking spell check tries to help me out here. And I'm reading it right off of here.
As for it to go to Anthony?
I have no idea. How about Johnny? How about Velasquez at shortstop?
How about Squid?
How about Squid at shortstop?
How about Squid? Look, I actually really enjoy seeing the combination of Fletcher, Rengifo, and Squid in that infield. So I'm going to say he's in. And what I like is the versatility among those three guys, because you saw it when Matt Thaiss came in to pinch hit for Squid. He went over to third base. Rengifo was able to go to second base. Fletcher went over to short. And I love that. I mean, these infielders are great no matter where they play. I understand. I almost said Anthony Velasquez, Andrew Velasquez at short, because he is the best right there as far as defense goes. And so I'm okay with rolling with him. He's in.
Okay. All right. Let's go to catcher and talk about Mitchell Stassi. No, I'm kidding.
Mitchell Stassi. Michael Stassi.
Michael Stassi. How about Stassi? Is he in or is he out for you?
He's out. I know he hit a 2-run shot last night.
Yeah.
Mike, here's my theory. We have Kurt Suzuki, Matt Thaiss, and Max Stassi on the team right now on the roster. We know that Matt Thaiss is a little bit more versatile because he can play third base, and I think he can also play a little bit of first base as well. But the primary position he is back to is catcher. They drafted him as a catcher. They moved him to the infield for a little bit, and then they put him back at catcher. My theory is, with Kurt Suzuki gone next season and Logan O'Hoppe waiting in the wings, I think you roll with a combination of Stassi and Thaiss until O'Hoppe is ready. If not sooner, I could see Thaiss getting traded. I could see Stassi getting traded in the offseason. Somebody's going to go. Something's going to give. And so right now, I want to see Matt Thaiss in there all the time, because I think the more playing time and experience, and you show other teams that he's a good catcher, I think that that's going to be very enticing. So if you want to trade him, you can give him the reps that he needs to show him off to other teams over the offseason. So I want to see Theis in there more often than not. I like him. He's in.
We've seen the benefit in years past when we're not doing well and they bring up a guy named Cole Calhoun, right? And they just let him play right field, and look what happened, right? He became somebody that we could really count on, and so maybe Theis could be that guy for us as well. Let's go to left field, Johnny, and talk about Jo Adell. Is he in or is he out?
Jo Adell should be in every day. How awful was it to see Magneuris Sierra? I like the guy. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But just no offensive production out of Sierra in last night's game.
He's swatting flies. Yeah, he's not even swinging the bat. He's just swatting flies up there right now.
Magneuris Sierra should only be in as a defensive replacement, a pinch runner, or if you want to lay down a sacrifice bunt or a safety squeeze, because he's very good at that, and he can actually bunt and get on first base safely and not get thrown out for the most part. Otherwise, Jo Adell has to be in there every single day. Maybe it was a chance to give him a day off or what have you, but to not have him in that lineup last night, I mean, we lost by 3 runs. I think it would have been a lot closer if Jo Adell had been in the lineup last night. So Jo Adell needs to be in there every day. And even if he sucks in left field and makes a mistake or makes an error, who cares? We're losing the season. It doesn't make a difference. Give the guy a chance to get some reps. He's 23 years old. He needs to be out there every day.
One last one, Johnny, for the closer. Is it Jose Quijada? Is he your closer, or is it somebody else?
Jesse Quijada? Is that what you
Jonathan Quijada?
I'm not going to let it go. I really like how they're handling the back end of the bullpen right now.
Okay.
I love Jimmy Herget because he's so versatile and he's so weird. He's the human glitch.
Yeah.
And I really liked how they let Quijada get the lefty batter out, and then they went to Herget on Monday night, and Herget was able to close that down. Honestly, I think at this point with 32 games left, you got to try out different guys in your bullpen and see what you have for next year. God bless him. Jesse Chavez is not compatible with Halo Red, and he actually got picked up by the Braves after we DFA'd him.
To go and crush it in the World Series again.
Yes, and that's fine with me. I think that's great because you know why? We know who Jesse Chavez is. We have a lot of unknowns and guys that we need to try in our bullpen, and we don't need Jesse Chavez taking up a roster spot because we're not playing for anything. So let guys like Jose Marte and Gerardo Reyes and Jose Quijada and Andrew Wantz and Austin Warren, let those guys pitch and see what you have for next season. No reason to clog up any bullpen positions with a veteran guy like that. But as far as Quijada goes, I mean, look, he's got fastball slider, or is it fastball changeup? I'm trying to remember, but he's basically got 2 pitches. And that makes me a little nervous with Quijada because he is a big flame-throwing arm, but he does induce a lot of contact, and it's not always ground out contact, right? So I'm not sure that he's the closer of the future, but as it stands, I like him in the bullpen, but I think keep doing this rotating thing at the end of the bullpen, at the end of the game, to see who you have in your bullpen for 2023 and make those guys the arms that you feel you can trust next season.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now make your second listen, the Locked On MLB podcast with MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan. He brings his humor and his passion and his unique perspective on every team and shares some of the biggest stories from around the league. You can follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And you can follow the #1 daily Los Angeles Angels podcast, Locked On Angels, at Locked On Angels on Twitter. Of course, you can catch Mike and I at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. And please, if you have any thoughts about who's in and who's out on YouTube and you're watching the video side, please leave your comments below the video. We'll do our best to get responses to those. We love interacting with you on YouTube. There's been a lot of great conversations lately, and I really love seeing that happen. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Well, we have some bad Twitter takes on the
Terrible.
MVP race between Ohtani and Judge. It's almost as bad as me calling Andrew Velasquez Anthony Velasquez. And we're going to talk about it tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
Love that. All right, y'all. Until tomorrow's show, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
And we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more Locked On Angels.